Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and in this live stream, I'm going to do a live stream where I talk about iOS 18.4, or rather, the iPad version. Now, I'm going to have a video obviously coming out tomorrow talking about the experience of how it's been using it for about a week, 5 days to a week. But there is some really good changes in this update. Now, this is my iPad Air, 4th generation in space gray. Yes, we did get ambient music. However, I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get this live stream copyrighted. But anyway, the first thing I want to mention is the new Mail app. I am absolutely excited that this is here, finally, on the iPad. It was interesting when we got this back in iOS 18.2, and now in iPadOS 18.4, it's here on the iPad, where we have our primary, have our transaction, updates, and we have promotions. And in my iPadOS 18.4 video, I missed this. We do have all mail, but you have to tap on promotions. Now, you can swipe the all mail off, but you can't swipe to go back to it. You have to then tap on promotions to get to all mail. And this just shows all of your mail, but I'm going to go ahead and clear this quickly. It's just a missed email notification. But you do have that option with iOS or iPadOS 18.4. Now, if you wanted to, you can switch it back over to list view, which is basically what it was before. And before updating to the iPad version, iPadOS 18.4, but I'm going to keep it on. I'm going to keep it on the categories view. Now, you see on my YouTube channel, if I go over to it here, under YouTube Shorts, I have a video I posted about it. Hi everyone, Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech. And in this video, I want to make an updated video to a video that I did in December with the iOS 18.2 Mail app. It's showing you how to switch back to the current or previous Mail app in this update. Now, I can't exactly play this, but I'm going to mute my microphone. I guess I don't have to. I thought my player control went away for ambient music, because that's the next thing I want to show you. When you open it up, it opens up in a separate music player. However, do keep in mind that there is no app for this. See, if you swipe it off and then you go back to your app switcher, it's not there. You then have to go back to Control Center or Notification Center, and there you will see it. However, I'm not going to play it because, it could be copyrighted. But there are the controls for it. You have sleep, productivity, well-being, and chill. I believe those are the new options for the ambient music control. They're under, well, they're the first toggle above capture. Here they are right here. We have sleep. Then we have chill, productivity, and we also have well-being. So those were added in iOS 18.4, and I went over it in my video also. I did a couple of videos, to be honest, because along with 18.4, we got iPadOS or iOS 15.8.4 update. And I did that video for the iPhone 7, which got 11 comments, which is insane. Now, we head over into Photos. We go to our tool menu. You go to filters here. And you have a new section. You can share, you have a shared with you album. And you have a not in an album section. That's new in this update. I hope there wasn't a glitch there because I just accidentally swiped out of the thing. Oh, it's still recording. If there was a minor glitch just there, comment that in because I just accidentally swiped out of the live stream here. There is a way I can monitor my live streams. I see it here on my channel. If there was a minor... I hope there wasn't a glitch in an album section. Showing you guys it as I'm recording live. That's new in this update. No, there wasn't a glitch. There wasn't a glitch there. Okay. I just... Okay. So that's not the only update that we got in 18.4. And also, let me adjust some settings. I don't know why this happens a lot of the time. But my live streams like to resort to public or private. Oh, this one's public. Well, let me go ahead and type this. I want to name it. iPadOS / iOS 18.4 live stream. I'm going to... New features. So hold on. Oh, I just got a comment. Someone's using 18.5, but that's currently in beta. That software is in beta, and I did make a video of it, but I was not running that beta. But that is something I'm planning on, as hopefully I get the chance to get my iPhone upgraded. I'm still keeping this phone I currently have. I'm obviously not going to get rid of it or give it to anyone. I'm going to keep it. But I have plans with this particular device, as I'm going to be using it for beta testing. I'm going to be getting iOS 19 or just any of the iOS betas that would typically run. I won't be putting them on the iPad because obviously that's only going to happen if I upgrade this device, which hopefully I get to do. But right now, I want to upgrade my iPhone first. I'm not too worried about this device, as the storage on here, it doesn't jump around as much as it does on my iPhone. And I have on my iPhone, my iPad, 54 apps. On my iPhone, I have at least, I think, 45, and I have, my iPad's never really gone below 20 gigabytes. You can see here that I'm at 24.45 gigabytes, and that's of 64 gigabytes. If I go to iPad storage and show it to you guys over there, you see that I'm using 39.5 gigabytes of 64 gigabytes used. On my iPhone, it's probably going to say I'm using 50, or it has in the past said I'm using 50 gigabytes of 64 gigabytes used, which is quite surprising because I have more apps on the iPad and lesser on the iPhone, and the storage still jumps around, and I have the same amount of photos on both devices. But since I ran out of iCloud storage, I have to airdrop my photos that I save to the iPad. You know, I take a lot of photos. Well, these ones I got off the internet, but the ones up top here were all taken on my iPhone. I don't typically keep a ton of photos due to the fact that I have a lower storage option device, which is typically why. Now let me play back this live stream here. Let's go. Due to the fact that I have to airdrop my photos that I upgrade my iPhone first. I'm obviously not in for beta testing. I'm going to be getting iOS 19 or just any of the iOS betas that would typically run. I won't be putting them on the iPad because I do. But right now, if I upgrade this device, which I have plans with this particular device, as I'm going to be using it for beta testing. There really is not right now that much changes in 18.5. It's like a very, very minor update. I'm going to quickly mute the audio just in case if there's a commercial that might be copyrighted. I just want to see. Everyone, Mr. Hawkins. Yeah, I don't want to get copyrighted. Hi, everyone. Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech. And today, Apple released iOS 18.5 Beta 1. This update was released alongside iPadOS 18.5 Beta 1, macOS 15.5 Beta 1, watchOS 11.5 Beta 1, tvOS and HomePodOS 18.5 Beta 1, and also visionOS 2.5 Beta 1 is out as well. Now, I'm not running the iOS 18.5 betas. I am on iOS 18.4 that released 2 days ago, but I'm going to talk about what's new in iOS 18.5 Beta 1. And the first change is within your settings under About and Device Coverage. The interface will look different within that update. It will now show the Apple logo for Apple Care Plus in that update. There was honestly not really too many changes in that update. iOS 18.5 was just pretty much a stability bug fix. Well, it's obviously a beta, so there really is not, there isn't going to be any bug fixes. In older beta updates from when I watched the videos about them, it said that it fixed bugs, which is not true. Because betas are usually tested and you have to give feedback to Apple via the feedback app, which I wish that they can make, I wish that that app can be made for not only developers and public beta testers, but people that don't even run the beta. Is there might be bugs, like for me, split screen. I know I talk about this a lot and I don't even use it like that, but if I did want to use it, it's not working at all. And I have an iPad Air 4th generation. Split screen is one of the multitasking iPad features, and for it to not work, there should be an update to address that, I think. So I think we should get the feedback app, even if we're not a beta tester. Now that said, betas contain way more bugs than a stable version of software. Beta updates can have devices fully respring or apps crashing, and that's why they give you the feedback app, so you could send that and they can release patches or updates to fix those issues. And that's also why you should never put a beta on your main device. That's why in a lot of my videos I mention if I upgrade to the iPhone 16 or just anything that's newer than the iPhone 12, which I'm currently using, then that newer phone is going to stay on a stable current version of iOS 18, whilst my previous device that I'm still going to keep will be used for beta testing, and I'm going to use iOS 19. It's looking like we're going to get quite a lot of features in iOS 19. We're going to get a ton of features with that update. Have a lot of notes here in the Craft app. It's looking like that we could have circular icons, kind of inspired by the Vision Pro with Vision OS. There was also rumors that the camera could also face redesign. It could be redesigned. The current camera app is nice. I love it. It takes good photos. But it's looking like in the redesign, it could be large buttons. And maybe for sure that redesign could come to the iPad. One thing that I really want them to bring more than anything, well, not more than anything, but it was a feature that was rumored to come, but never made it. And that is a gallery view for the wallpapers. Like usually to delete older wallpapers, you have to scroll all the way to the end. And you can have a limit up to 200 wallpapers, but you wouldn't want to scroll through all 200 wallpapers when there could be a much faster way, especially on the iPad screen. It probably could look something like this. Well, not entirely. Hold on one second. There we go. It probably could look something like this. Let me turn on light mode here. It probably could look something like this, but not 100% like this. Think of these wallpapers, but more zoomed out and in a sort of a row of a gallery. Where instead of scrolling left to right, you would pretty much scroll up and down, and then maybe you could press and hold on. You can have an edit button when you enter the gallery, and pressing edit, and then you simply click the ones that you no longer want. You can delete those wallpapers. That'll be much easier rather than having to scroll all the way to the left to delete wallpapers that way. Now, the fact that you could edit, I just sort of put that in there. That was rumored to come with iOS 17 about the wallpaper gallery, but I hope that comes with iOS 19. As I'm looking forward to the releases for iOS 19 and the beta releases. And this is the Worldwide Developer Conference. The little logo that Apple has on their website. And this is when we can see it. It's going to be from June 9th to June 13th. Now, I am not live streaming the event. I will live stream after the event because I'm going to talk about what things was announced. So I will live stream definitely after the event. I'm just not going to live stream during it, as there will probably be some music that is copyrighted, and that's why I'm not going to live stream during it. I probably could. I just have to make sure that I turn off my audio in time, but I'm probably going to not be able to do that in time, and I don't want to get a copyright strike. So to avoid that, I won't live stream during it, but I am going to live stream after it. You can absolutely be sure that I will live stream after WWDC. And I like how you can pinch windows in Safari or tabs in Safari to close them. I believe you can do the same thing on the iPhone also. They updated this browser in iOS 15. With Safari on the iPhone, we have bottom tab bar and the top tab bar. Also within settings under Siri and search, we have new voices, but I don't know why. I'm just going to say this. Every time you play one of the voices, the phrase it says, it always mentions about I'll let you hear it. It's the new Australian Siri voice. So I have the volume all the way up.
The colours of the sky fade with the setting sun as the stars begin to shine through the clear night.
It always mentions how the colors of the sky fade with the setting sun. They made that phrase. They made that phrase in iOS 18. Because it never said that in iOS 17. It's a pretty good phrase, though. I guess it references Apple Intelligence in a way. Although part of me doesn't think it does at all. It mentions about the colors of the fading sunset.
The colours of the sky fade with the setting sun as the stars begin to shine through the clear night.
Those are the two new voices. Here is the old voice.
The colours of the sky fade with the setting sun
Here's the
as the
previous
stars
one.
begin to...
The colours of the sky fade with
The colours of the...
Now, these voices in the 0.4 update reminds me of this one.
The colors of the sky fade with the setting sun as the stars begin to shine through the clear night.
That reminds me of that one because in iOS 15.4, if you guys remember that update, iOS 15.4, unfortunately, I remember that update in a not so great way, but I'll talk about that in a different live stream once I find my old iPhone so I can mention that. But iOS 15.4 introduced this voice right here.
The colors of the sky fade with the setting sun.
So that was the new voice.
The colours of the sky fade with the setting sun.
The colours of the sky fade.
And then when you activate it, I hope it doesn't activate on my phone because I'm live streaming. I don't think it will, but let's give it a try. Siri. Tell me the recipe for fried chicken.
I can indeed.
Tell me the recipe for fried chicken.
I found this on the web.
Set a timer for 3 minutes, or 5 minutes.
3 minutes, counting down.
That's the thing with that. With Apple Intelligence, it fixes those problems. Because if you ask it a question and you meant to ask it differently, it's going to repeat the last answer and not the one you corrected. So if you say set a timer for 6 minutes and then you correct it and you say set a timer for 10 minutes, this is what it's going to do. Set a timer for 6 minutes, or 10 minutes.
6 minutes, counting down.
Yeah, Apple Intelligence fixes that problem. Because it will repeat your correction and not the mistake that you said before it. But unfortunately, my iPad and this device I'm recording off of, my iPhone 12, doesn't support Apple Intelligence. That's why I hope I get the iPhone 16 so I can make videos on that for you guys. And also this 12, I can use it for iOS betas. Also, the Mail app, which I did mention, that got redesigned. Oh, I've already mentioned that already. There is a new podcast widget. There is indeed a new podcast widget. So if we go to podcasts, I have a CapCut widget. Because I've been using CapCut as my video editor, which I'm sure you guys know. Oh, and that reminds me, tomorrow will be 2 weeks since I've been using that app. But let's go to the library section. Up next widget. This is the one that's new. So if I add it to the bottom here, we have a new library widget in iPad and iOS 18.4. And also, when you go to download an app, I'm just going to show you this right now. I think it works on the iPad. When you go ahead and download an app, so I just downloaded an app. You saw you can now pause. Hopefully the camera is picking that up. You now have the ability to pause downloaded apps. That was something that was a new feature in iOS 18 and iPadOS 18.4. You can now pause downloaded apps. So there is a lot of features in this update, but it's not as big as iOS 19 could be. But hopefully we get a 0.1 update so that it can fix split screen. I know I don't use it a whole lot, but maybe I'll see if I have it. I don't think you can turn off split screen. That's like built into the iPad software. And even if you go to home screen or multitasking, I think this page is called multitasking and gestures. Okay, I think I do know why. Let me try something. Aha! Well, I believe now why split screen wasn't working. It was not a bug in iOS 18.3 or 18.4. The problem was I had split view and slide over. I had that toggled to off, and I did not realize that. And that's why split screen wasn't working. I don't know why they allow you to turn that off, though. That's like a very good, well, it's like I guess some people always don't want to use split screen, but you can see now split screen is working. And then if I bring in another app, like mail, and I like that you could swipe up on the apps in split screen. So there are some good updates in 18.4. I'll just go to my channel here. We have 145 subscribers and 165 videos. And also, we are already in April. Can you believe that? Well, we're already in the 4th month of this year. And that's going to make, for this channel on the 16th of April, 5 months since having this channel. I'm probably not going to mention it every month because I don't know if you guys might get tired of me mentioning it, but I might still mention it. But when it comes to a couple years, then I probably won't mention it as much till that next year. But one thing to mention is how fast I'm getting subscribers. We're almost at 150. I had a goal set for June 1st to reach 150 subs. We're going to get there way before June 1st. All I need is 5 more subscribers. I think I said that when I had 120 subscribers. Because I was trying to get to 200 subscribers quickly. I'm not going to make this live stream too long. There really isn't a ton to talk about with 18.4. 18.5 is a very minor update. But that said, we could still get a lot of betas, a lot of features in those betas. 18.5 is a tiny update right now, but we could get betas or features in those betas. We could get new features released in those beta updates whenever we get them. So beta 2 could have new features, beta 3 could have new features, and it might release sometime in mid-May. Probably around, here is April. And then if we go to May, we probably could see it release around May 12th. Depending on how many betas we get. So iOS 18.5 is in beta at the moment. So if you are running it, that means you probably have a developer beta profile installed. The good thing is, if you want to install betas, you will no longer need a paid developer account. I myself have never installed a beta, but I'm planning on it this year if I get my new phone. This phone here, the iPhone 12, I'm going to use it for beta testing. So I am planning on that. And it's a good thing that Apple made the change they made to have beta updates free, both developer and public. So today is April 4th. And next week, it's possible we can expect iOS 18.5 Beta 2 to drop probably on April 7th or April 8th. And then probably on April 14th, maybe have Beta 3. Then on April 21st, have Beta 4. Then April 28th, have an RC. And then if we get it that soon, I would say probably May 4th. Or it could release even on Cinco de Mayo. That's when I got my first iPad. Not this iPad here. May 5th, 2020. I still remember that date. It's when I got my first ever iPad, since that's something I've always dreamed about having. Now, that's not what led me, or that actually is what led me into Apple, but I had an iPhone before I got that first iPad. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I was using an iPhone, or I was just using it. It had no service on it. I probably did mention this in a live stream. I probably most likely did. I had an iPhone 6 Plus in 2018. But it had no service, of course. I was just using it. But it was a pretty great device. And at that time, I knew nothing about Apple. I knew nothing about them at that time. But now I know so much information about Apple and the wonderful products that they make. I love their products. So once iOS 18.4 does release to the public, either on May 5th or May 12th, I will most definitely have a video out to where I talk about its release. But then at the same time, after iOS 18.5, iOS 18.6 beta will happen. Now, when that update comes out, I think it's probably going to be just as small as 18.4 or 18.5 rather, because we're already on, this is hard to believe, but we're halfway through iOS 18. iOS 18 released, I would say, about 7 months ago. Correct me in the comments if that's not right, but it released on September 16th. And that's a weird coincidence because back in 2020, that's the same day that iOS 14 dropped. That's the same day that iOS 14 released to the general public. It was on September 16th. We're already halfway through iOS 18, and we're on our way to iOS 19, which will be showing off in June. Now, by that time, I am definitely going to install the beta if I get my new phone. If I get it this month, then I'm installing iOS 18.5 beta or 18.6. But if I get it a little later, whenever I get it, I will have beta content on this iPhone. As of now, I'm not just going to install a beta on this 12 as it's currently my main device. And if I run into bugs, I will have problems restoring a backup, as I don't have a computer to downgrade, which is another reason why I'm not going to do it right now and wait till I get my new phone. Because then if I have bugs, they won't affect my new phone. It would just happen on this device, which won't be my main device as much. Versus now installing the beta and having lots of bugs with no way to downgrade. So I look forward to iOS 18.5, even though we got 18.4, which is quite a nice update. It's a very good update. I look forward to some of the features in iOS 18.5. And I'm going to have a video tomorrow talking about iOS 18.4 and how it's held up and all the other things. That video is I'm going to make that video and upload it tomorrow. So I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. Have a good night, everyone. I'm Mr. Hawkins of Hawkins Tech, and I'll see you guys in my next video.